We back live and in color. I don't know about color, but we back though.
What made you say live and in color?
I seen it somewhere else, and I thought it might be cool
You been
to say.
watching In Living Color?
I do actually like that show though.
I love it.
I think it's a
Great show.
It's a classic. You know. Was that a spinoff from the Cosby's?
Heck no! Didn't that come out before the Cosby?
In Living Color?
Yeah.
Bro, I think it's a spinoff from the Cosby, bro.
No, bro. Listen.
What the spinoff from the Cosby was? When what's his name went to college?
Different World.
Different World.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right.
Because In Living Color was with the Wayans brothers and all them.
Boy, I just sold, boy.
Yeah, you bad off of that.
Well, I just sold. Well, I sold bad. But anyway, man, we back, man. This is In Between the Lines, Bros and Books. We are the bros.
Man, this is the book.
That's the book, man. Really good read this week. First of all, man, before we kick it off, how was your week, man?
It was great because it was a week before a break. So.
Y'all did the whole week?
Well, Monday we got some online stuff to do, but whole week.
Yeah, we only got 2 days. We got Friday and Monday. I go back to work Tuesday. And I got duty Tuesday morning, 7:15 duty Tuesday morning.
I had fun with that.
Yeah, so I'm not fired up about it, but it is what it is.
You enjoyed your week on top of the dirt?
On top of the dirt.
You're alive.
Yeah. You could say anything else on top of the dirt.
I mean, bro, I just wanted to make sure you enjoyed your week, you know. Because, see, most people don't understand you're alive, so you got to enjoy it.
I mean, yeah, it was cool. It was cool. I mean, if I sound a little different, I'm a little congested. You know what I mean? I kind of got a little, I don't know what this is.
You must be sleeping up on that fan.
The fan was definitely on, my boy. On blast, too. But the weather just been crazy, bro. Hot. I don't know whether to put the AC on, the heat on, leave it off. It's kind of just weird. It's a weird space.
Well, living with my wife, you going to keep heat on until it's hot outside.
Bro, why do women do that, bro? Why it be so hot in the house, dog? Like, bro, I came out yesterday, bro. The heat was on 79. I'm like, bro, who are you trying to burn up?
It's hot.
You trying to cook something, man?
Exactly. It's hot in the house, and she still says she cold.
That's crazy, bro. But I ain't gonna count though. Mine do be like her feet be like ice cold, though, bro. Like it's.
I can agree, but still, every part of me is hot.
It might just be a woman thing. I mean, they might just be. They so cold. They so cold blooded.
Exactly. So they just man.
But yeah, man. Good read this week. We did Ta-Nehisi Coates in what's the book called?
Between the World and Me.
In Between the World and Me. Now I hope I said his name right. It is Ta-Nehisi, right?
I hope so, because all I know is the name of the book. He got a Coates. Let's just call him Mr. Coates.
Mr. Coates. Yeah. Mr. Coates it is. But yeah, man, so we read this one this time, and it's February, so you know, it gave us a little bit of Black history as well. Black author Toni Morrison says that he's the face of future Black literature.
Hey, that's a high praise from a great writer.
Yeah, facts. So
great.
summary of the book, man. I guess it was him talking to his son.
Yeah.
And he kind of details a little bit of his life growing up in the streets, but not a street dude, which is two different things.
At least he knew he wasn't a street dude. He just was. Yeah. His house was there.
Yeah, I think that's how it about. I'm kind of the same way though. I think I kind of grew up in the street, but I'm not a street dude. Like I'm not a gangster by no means.
Just associated.
Possibly.
I mean, that's normally how it go. You know, most people are just, well, you have a lot of them that's in it. Yeah. And then you have some of us that just, I mean, you're associated.
Yeah, right? You just from around the way.
You can go to the hood and be good, but they respect you as
whatever you are,
a professional.
Thanks. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. It's smooth. But yeah, in this book, Mr. Coates is talking to his son, and he's using his life as moments and teaching moments for his son, as far as him growing up Black in America. He uses a lot of literary tools as far as imagery, as far as flashbacks, as far as different things to kind of detail and outline what it was like for him growing up where he was, and then trying to kind of guide his son through some of the things that he did, as far as him fathering his son and being a dad, why he did certain things, the reason why he feels how he feels, the people that he encountered, the people he met, and it kind of just details, like I said, man, just kind of goes through a little bit of his life story, and again, why he feels how he feels about certain situations.
And going into this book, you made a comment when we was talking about it. You said you didn't like how he was saying my body.
Hated it. Hated it. One of the only part about the book I did not like. Absolutely hated it.
Why, bro?
It sounds so feminine to me.
It
like
does.
my body, and talking about like they trying to take my body and they're trying to whatever. Like it just gave me real prison, like trying to take something from somebody. But like I just didn't. Like I read it, and you know how you read something just don't sound right in your head. That was just as I kept reading it, I just didn't like how it sounded, and that was just one of the deals That's probably the only part of the book I didn't like, really.
Okay, so if you didn't like that part of the book, I guess my question would be if he worded it a different, because what he was saying was
it was
right.
spot on. It was spot on. I get what it was talking about. I just didn't like the whole in my body deal or my body thing. I just want real fired up about that.
Okay, it makes sense. And then, just moving into the next point, you said it's kind of feminine. So just moving into another statement that draws me to, at one point in this book, he did have a moment where the guy Prince, he had love for Prince. Now, granted,
I'm gonna drink out his mug right here.
Look, he said he had love for Prince, right? So the way he worded it sounded as if he was interested in Prince on a level of like true intimacy. Like I'll say I got love for my dogs, but it's like they're my boys. So
I feel why you say that, because like even his description of Prince Jones was like
he was.
I could see, I could see Prince. And who did you in your mind when you say when he detailed Prince? Who you think about? You probably thought about you.
No.
you probably thought about yourself,
bro. Yeah, because I'm tall, handsome.
You average height,
bro. I'm tall, bro. I'm 6 foot.
5'10" and a half.
No, not
what the,
never been 5.
But what the scout say?
5'11" and 4/4. So that makes me what, 6 foot
and a half. Four quarters is a half.
4/4, bro. 4/4 is a whole.
All right, go ahead.
But now, honestly, I didn't picture anybody. So since you asked that question, you clearly had something in mind. Whenever
I picture Will Smith. No cap.
Hey, that's yeah.
I thought when he was talking about, I was like Will Smith in my mind. You know what I mean? Like I just thought about Will Smith. I don't know why.
He grew up in Baltimore.
Yeah.
I was say he was in
West Philadelphia. Yeah. Born and raised.
But yeah, so he was in Baltimore. But he did use the body deal a lot. But I mean, like you said, what he was using it to describe was true. Like, I'll just say with this book, he talked about how you either lost your body to the streets or you lost your body to basically the system. You had to choose who you walked to school with. You had to choose who you was around when you was out in the streets, because like we said earlier, your association, sometimes you're guilty about association.
I mean, you are really, a lot of times. But even going back to the whole Prince deal about his description of him, I think too, a little bit of it was, I think he admired Prince in a lot of ways, just kind of how he carried himself and kind of who he was. You know what I mean? Sometimes as men, you can't really say like, oh, bro got it going on, or bro, you know what I mean, bro kind of got a little motion. You might be like, hey, man, home cool.
Yeah.
And him being a writer, he just worded in a way that definitely sounded like he kind of had a little bit of
feelings toward him.
Yeah.
And you know what, you make a great point when you say that, because like you said, we'll be like, oh yeah, bro kicking it, bro doing his thing, but we'll never describe it that way. But like you said, as a writer, your goal is to do what? Bring your readers into your book.
For sure.
So yeah, that's a great point as a writer. He did bring us into it. Like you said, you imagine Will Smith. I imagine Prince not as a person, but as like a straight up athlete, like popular cat. Everybody knew him, everybody wanted to be around him. Like he had a good aura and his, perception of him. So that's how I saw Prince.
Yeah. I mean, and Prince was a big character in the book. Prince ended up dying, of course. Police brutality, which was a theme then, and still is a theme now.
Yeah.
As we kind of move into a Black History Month, man, it's just you're a dad, man, and I always lean to you as far as for parental advice. I mean, I don't have any yet. Definitely trying to get some good practice in. But I don't have any yet, man. And a lot of these, this whole book was about a dad talking to his African American dad talking to his African American son. And the theme that kind of kept coming to me was, first of all, fear, and I'll get back to that in a minute. But as a dad, man, how do you teach your kids that they're Black without making them fearful? Like, how do you, as a Black dad, know that it's certain things you gotta tell your son or your sons? You got 2 of them. Like, it's certain you got to like you gotta know how to handle yourself when you're around police. You gotta know how to handle yourself when you're in the streets. You gotta know how to handle yourself in the club. Like, it's a constant change a little bit. Those are 3 different deals that you gotta act really 3 different ways. Is there a certain way that you talk to your kids about that, or is it just common conversation? I mean, how do you kind of handle that?
When it comes to, I'm gonna say, the police deal, I really just teach my boys, or I give them like I say, me and their mom, we give them advice as far as how to conduct yourself. With anybody really, like not just police, but conduct yourself in a way where people just give you respect because of how you move. If you're in a situation with a police officer, the best place to handle it is in court. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if you and that police officer having a disagreement, take the ticket, take whatever it is he's trying to do. And if you're right, you go to court, you get off. You feel me? So I just teach them to kind of know how to conduct yourself to get into a situation where you're at, where I can't say you're at an advantage because you are a young Black man in court, but you have a better chance of walking away alive.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
That's a huge point, because you're definitely not at an advantage in court.
No, you're not. And with me coming from the legal system or working in the legal system so long, I see it that no matter what, if they say that you're guilty, they're all working together, bro. Like the DA or the prosecutor sits in the back with the public defender, the judge, and all them. They talk, bro. They discuss it. So they're working together. They will literally tell each other, "Hey, let's do this so I can get this off my caseload."
Wow.
And that's just how it's set up. So the best way to beat them is to give everybody respect until they don't earn it anymore.
Yeah, respect is huge.
And when it comes to the streets with my boys, there's no loyalty at all. There's no rules, no loyalty. So I always tell them, just be mindful of what you tell people, who you talking to, and how you, once again, conduct yourself around certain people. Don't let people know what you have.
Yeah. Don't
let people think they know what you have. Don't give them a reason to even approach you in a negative manner.
For sure. For sure. That's huge, man. And I bring that point up because in the book, he talks about it. This is kind of a little excerpt from the book. I fear not just violence of this world, but the rules designed to protect you from it. Rules that will have you contort your body to address the block, to contort your body to be taken seriously by your colleagues, and to contort your body not to give police a reason. And like I said, man, that's 3 different arenas that being Black in America, you talk about, just the difference of it. I thought that was huge. Just kind of talking about that, man. Like, you do have to act different ways in different kind of situations. You know what I mean? Like, and some people call it, golly, I can't think of the name of it, but like my mother-in-law, she do it sometimes. Like she'll put her school voice on. And you can tell the difference from when she talking to regular people or colleagues, and then you can tell the difference when we talking to like family and stuff. But like, I think we do it all the time, and I think a lot of people are fearful of black people.
It's instilled in us at a young age to even do that, bro.
Yeah.
And in this book, he made the comment that one of his main idols or one person he looked up to was Malcolm X. And the reason he looked up to Malcolm so much was because Malcolm didn't change. He was unconcerned with making the people who believed they were white feel uncomfortable in their belief. That's exactly how he said it.
Yeah.
And I feel like we switch up our tones, we switch up the way we're talking because we want to make people comfortable. I'm not saying go in and be speaking in ignorantly, but just be yourself. Yeah. Allow people to want to be with you, not the person they think you are. You get what I'm saying?
For sure.
So I feel like we do deal with that, and it's because it was instilled in us from a young age, bro. Like, just think about it. My folks used to tell me sometimes, you gotta make sure you keep a nice haircut.
Yeah, for sure.
Even with our
tattoos.
No tattoos. Well,
you broke that rule.
Bad.
You broke that rule.
I feel that bad.
Pretty early.
Yeah, I did. I had to wait till I got out of my house, but I did it. But and just things like that, and even with our names, bro, just think about it.
Yeah.
Oh, bro, you see that name on the resume, they ain't gonna like that name.
How many resumes you think? How many jobs have you gotten because of your resume? Like honestly,
I couldn't say.
Bro, I don't think I got one job.
Not just because of my resume.
I mean, I think that's something that they tell you, and it just kind of one of them things that get passed down from generation to generation.
Yeah.
Like getting jobs ain't about a piece of paper. It's about who you know.
Exactly.
Relationships. You know what I mean? But going with your point, my boy. I just
that's it. You're right, bro. It's like that's exactly what it is, bro. Like who you know, and once again, how you carry yourself.
Facts.
You can have the most hoodest dialect, but if you carry yourself in a manner where people have to respect you and knowledgeable, you're knowledgeable and you can have a conversation with anybody because your knowledge level, bro, is no way you can go without getting it unless they're just that prejudiced toward your kind.
It's cool that you brought up Malcolm because my dad, like we grew up on Malcolm. Like he had like probably every black father or every black family. They had the picture of like the Mount Rushmore of black men.
Mm-hmm.
So you had W.E.B. Du Bois, Malcolm X, MLK, and Booker T. Washington. Or the fourth person was always kind of different.
Yeah.
But another quote that he said about Malcolm was, and it's a picture that I love and I want to put in my man cave whenever I get a man cave. It's a picture of Malcolm holding the shotgun and peeking out the window. Like that's one of the dopest photos ever. And Coach talks about it. He says Malcolm communicated everything that I wanted to be: controlled, intelligent, and beyond fear. Which I think is literally everything you just said about what it takes kind of to be able to kind of culture shifts.
Mm-hmm.
But in that, man, it also feel like too that beyond fear part is what got Malcolm killed.
Yeah.
And that beyond fear part is also what gets our black kids in trouble now is not being fearful as to where, in different generations of being black is like, maybe my grandparents grew up and they were afraid of the police.
Mm-hmm.
To where your boy grew up and they're not necessarily afraid of the police.
Mm-hmm.
Like they understand kind of what goes along with it, but they're not fearful of the police or fearful of the system. And does that scare you at all as far as like, I know I'm raising fearless black men, but does that put you in a situation where you like, man, I don't know.
Of course, because I want to raise my boys to live a life of not being afraid of anyone, not having that fear. But I think along with raising your kids, like he talked to his son, be yourself.
Yeah.
Like you can have fear. You can, if you do fear something or not fear something, my bad. If you don't have fear of the police, still have respect for them.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
For sure.
Because at the end of the day, they are human.
Yeah.
So they're going to make decisions off human emotion.
Yeah.
So, but my thing is, yes, I fear it because I do raise my boys not to be afraid. When you see the police, you don't have to tighten your chest up, be afraid, be nervous. You continue, if you're not doing anything wrong, continue to do what you're doing.
For sure.
You know, once again, I think the biggest thing we lose when we say have no fear is they say have no fear, but they don't say but show respect.
Yeah.
You know, if you give respect to people, then normally things end up right.
For sure.
You know, unless it's just an unstable person, mental health.
Correct.
That's the problem.
Correct.
Because some people are mentally just off at times.
Yeah.
And if you catch them at that time, then
they're gonna do what they're gonna do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But if you take yourself and you legit have yourself where you're giving respect, most of the time things can end up well.
Controlling your emotions, man.
Exactly.
In the moment, yeah, for sure. For sure.
And another thing, you were saying how in this book he talked about how black people had to be different or conduct themselves differently.
Mm-hmm.
He used the words twice as good.
That's a huge point. That's a great point.
He used it twice as good, and when you think about it, bro, we are raised to think.
You're told that.
Honestly. Yeah, we're told to be twice as good. Look, when you go to that schoolhouse, you better do this.
That school high.
That school high. Like, hey, bro, back in the country, your mama, you better get out there to that schoolhouse.
Hey, the schoolhouse, boy, that is too South Georgia.
I'm telling you, bro. Like, but you get it though, dog. It's like when you get out there, you had to be. The white kids were not given the same lesson.
No,
they were, and in this book, he said it. Like, he had a great description of a white kid riding a tricycle with no regards to who else was on that sidewalk.
Facts.
When we have our kids, I'm a parent, I do it now. When we're out, I tell my boys to give people their personal space.
Yeah. Don't
get in people's way. And basically, I'm telling them at times, don't be a kid. Because kids bounce around, kids do what they're going to do. And me, I always, hey, watch out. But like he said in this book, this kid riding on the sidewalk, don't care who's there. He expects people to move out of his way because as a white kid, he's taught that he has ownership, I guess you could say, or he has the rights to this no matter who's around.
Yeah.
And we don't teach our kids that, but I've adopted that mindset where when me and my boys out, y'all have the right, but once again, y'all have respect for people's space. But don't think you have to hide who you are.
Facts.
Enjoy yourself. Be a child.
Be a child. And being a child is huge, man. Like, it's so many of us having to grow up early and having to be adults when we're still kids for whatever reason. I didn't, but I kind of adopted a little bit. I think I matured faster than probably some of my friends did, just from a social aspect. But but now it's huge though, man, because white people don't have to tell their kids to be twice as good. I mean, they don't have those conversations aren't had in their household. It's not like you got to go to school and be twice as good as little Johnny because it don't matter. You know what I mean? It don't matter for them.
They feel like the school owed them. So you go to that school and you get your grades, but you do what you be you. Don't close off of who you are because of who's in that classroom. Yeah. And like you said, they're not taught that.
Yeah.
We're taught that.
For sure. From a young age. Schoolhouse was hilarious though.
Chill out, bro.
Because that schoolhouse was tough. But speaking of the schoolhouse, man, he had several points about the streets in school. And I thought it was beautifully narrated, like how he talked about the two and how they are more parallel and more kind of common or than people think they are. You know, a lot of people think, the streets and school are two separate entities, but they're really not for black kids. He said the streets and school are arms of the same beast. Fear and violence is the weaponry of both. If you fail in school, we're gonna send you back to the streets.
And then he said he should have stayed in school and then wash his hands up.
Yeah, that's it, bro.
How many people in your neighborhood or that you come up with, they either flunked out of school or they wasn't as successful as the American standard said they should be? That you'd have heard somebody say, well, you'd have stayed in school and got your education, you would have been fine.
Absolutely. And it's crazy, bro, because you'll never, especially in today's climate, you'll never hear a white person say, oh, we want to kick this black kid out of school, or we don't want to have, like, they won't willingly agree to kicking the kid out of school, but what are we doing systematically to help our kids stay in school? Like, I went to a staff meeting, bro, and I looked at a school that was at least over 50% African American. I looked at a staff that was less than 5% African American. So how are you tailoring your learning? Like, you got people who are teaching your kids that don't know what the kids are necessarily going through, or don't know necessarily what those kids have been through or will go through. So it's super tough to be able to kind of show that representation in the school. But then as a system too, we look at our school system, and is it really built to help our kids succeed?
Honestly, I don't think it is. And the reason I say that is because you watch the kids in school. One, they get bored, they get distracted. Now, granted, this generation is a lot worse, if you ask me.
Yeah.
Because we were not that interested. Well, I know for myself, I wasn't that interested in school. But I also knew that my home life, my mom was like, get your education, go to school. It was, you had to graduate high school.
Yeah.
In my household.
Yeah.
I don't care what you did, but I feel like that's where it falls short as well, bro. Like, we as a parent, I know the school system is not giving my kids what they need 100%, but it's good for them socially.
It's great for them socially.
Exactly.
It's great.
So, because I seen my son, I do 11th grade U.S. history. My son was learning about the colonies at the same time my 11th graders was. He's in the 4th grade.
That's wild.
Exactly. So my thing is, what the home life is big, because if you give your kids principles at home to live by, when they get to school, they live by, they carry those principles with them.
No doubt.
So those principles is what carry them to want to get their education, want to learn, but at the same time, when they come home, they know they're held to even a higher standard than they are at school.
No doubt. And that high standard is a really good point too, man. Just pushing your kids to be better than yourself.
Yep.
And but I still just think it's super tough, man, to be school or politics. I mean, most of the decisions are being made by people who have never been in these type of situations or circumstances. I mean, you got officials in politics, you got a school board full of people that haven't necessarily been in these situations. And how can you, I mean, it just lacks so much representation. We lack so much representation. And it's like, we don't even have the people that want to go into these fields, man, because it's like, first of all, money ain't great.
Money is horrible.
And it's so many other things that draw your attention when you're a young kid, you know what I mean? And it's, in this whole genre, that's the wrong word, this whole era of instant success and fast money, you know what I mean? Working and getting a job ain't what P. That ain't P at all.
And I can say this, me and my wife, we don't even talk to our boys about working and getting a job.
Yeah.
We talk to them about what type of business are you going to run?
Yeah.
What are you going to do? And even so, if we ask them what they want to do.
Yeah.
When they was about 2 years ago, they was a little younger. One said police, one said a doctor. That's amazing, son. But what are you going to do for yourself as far as business-wise?
Yeah.
So if that don't work out, what are you going to have that you can call your own?
Yeah. That's key.
So
ownership, man. Ownership is definitely key. I mean, not trying to make more employees.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like definitely trying to have your kids to be the employer, or kind of create the whole narrative for themselves, not have to depend on anybody else is super important. But even in that too, man, like everybody ain't gonna be.
Everybody
ain't gonna be ours.
Some people are made to be
some people are
employees.
made to be, and that's fine too. You know what I mean? Just kind of knowing your niche and kind of knowing your deal. Like I said, man, but just kind of going on with it, man. Another thing I liked about it was, we talked about Malcolm a little bit, but you look at Black History Month, right? It's February.
Yeah.
And we only get 28 days. Shortest month of the year. But why are all of our heroes that are celebrated always in nonviolent heroes. As much as black people love Malcolm X, like as much ain't no it ain't Malcolm X holiday.
Malcolm X Day. Hey, you know you can create your own holiday, right? I have to show you that, but it's this one the dog. It's this one lady that legit creates so many holidays, bro. It's insane. Legit, dog. Like I'll have to show you off once we finish this little episode. But you can, I mean, you're right. But you know why, bro? I feel like celebrating him as such a violent thing, people see it as, oh, people gonna want to act like that. But I disagree because we have a MLK Day, and I don't see too much. I mean, people do protest, but he was such a calm, you know, head on straight leader. I guess you could say that. It's not too many of us doing like he did.
No, I mean
the way he did.
He definitely was great, bro. Like not taking nothing away from MLK or Gandhi or anybody else that was nonviolent in their whole deal in trying to get black liberation and move black people forward. But in the same space, why isn't Marcus Garvey celebrated? Why isn't Huey P. Newton celebrated? Why isn't Malcolm celebrated to the extent that he should be as far as it goes with holidays and kind of everything else? But you definitely gotta show me.
I got you. I'm sure, bro. Like she be just throwing days. Well, it's like days. Like you know how they may say today is best friend day.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
I think it's Bernard Williams Day.
Yeah.
I think June 19th it should be Juneteenth and it should be Bernard Williams Day in the same realm. Like it should all kind of, you know what I mean, go together.
Okay. This month talking insane right now. Why would you have your own holiday?
I mean, why not?
You give me one reason why.
I was born that day.
No, wrong. You wasn't on one. It's gonna be a y'all team day because all y'all that was born on that day is gonna be for all y'all.
But it's only one Bernard. I promise you, only one Bernard born on June 19th.
I bet it's not. I bet it ain't.
What you got, man? because you're killing my deal right now, dog. You're killing my holiday right now.
I can't agree with that. But let's talk about I really just thought about this. Prince died, right? He was killed by a cop. And the place that the cop who killed him come from was called Prince George County. I didn't even think about that until I just thought about this point. But Prince George County, PG County as it's known, he stated it was ran by a lot of wealthy black people. It was dominated by black politicians. The wealthy black people lived there. They basically had their own police force, but ain't it wild that a black police force was known as thugs or basically like henchmen?
Not wild at all. That's the narrative.
Exactly. But they had that reputation, and I'm pretty sure it's because it was a African American dominated community. Correct. So, but the crazy part is this cop didn't even kill him in Prince George County. He killed him in another, I forgot where he was, but he was like hours away from there. This cop killed him out of uniform. He followed this guy to this spot, and as he was getting out of his car, the cop killed him. Off duty. Yeah. Dressed normal. Yeah. And followed him across state line.
Premeditated.
Yes.
Yeah.
There was never no reason why. Yeah. And of course, the cop got off. It was a black cop. And that's why sometimes I say it's the badge that give these people that courage to kill. You know? Because unless there was something between him and this guy that was not discussed in this book, that's kind of wild for a cop to travel across state lines and kill somebody in cold blood. It's crazy, bro.
And if you look at it, I mean, Prince Jones is a staple in this book. He's somebody who kind of keeps kind of coming up. And just the description of who he was the best of us.
Yeah.
Christian, tall, handsome,
respectful.
All the adjectives that you can kind of name for a good person. He was a good person. He was one of the ones that you feel like would not be, in a kind of situation like that. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So it's tough, man. It's definitely tough.
That's one thing I wish we would have got more of is the whole situation around his case.
Mm-hmm.
We know the cop was not indicted or charged. He was back on his job.
Yeah.
We know the whole basis of how he killed him, but we don't know why.
During the funeral, he went to the funeral.
Yeah.
So yeah,
it's just like there's a lot of unanswered questions on what happened. You know.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it wasn't worth this guy losing his life.
Definitely.
But it ended up happening. So, you know, we just try to figure out, like, Mr. Coates, if you could, and if you have more information, that would be something big that you could give your readers, you know.
And do it on this show.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that'd be amazing.
Hey, come on this show and do it.
Yeah, let us know.
If I said your name wrong, too, you can come here and you can check me and correct me. You know what I mean?
You correct us, not check us.
Facts.
It's different. You know, we respect your name, though, bro.
I also like too, man, and kind of got me thinking about just kind of different things or whatever. You know, he was talking about the price of error for being black is super minimal. Like it's small. Like being a black kid and messing up, you know, it could definitely be your life. Like it could be something that you could die from, you know what I mean? And it's not quite like that for our lighter skinned counterparts. But it got me thinking a little bit, man. And it's not a foreign question. It's not something that's new. But and I ask my dad this all the time. Do you think we were better off when we were segregated? Like just as a people, like I know we were getting old books. I know we were, you know, not you know, we didn't have all the kind of the bells and whistles that some of the new schools had, or some of the, you know, some of the white schools had, whatever. But as far as community involvement, us as a people, do you think we were better off if we would have stayed separate without integration?
I feel like it would have forced us to be more of ourselves instead of trying to fit in. So I feel like once the integration happened, we had to start living up to those standards that they had already created for their kids.
I like that, yeah.
So I feel like if we would have been forced to teach our kids our ways of the world, the way we wanted to raise them, instead of having to say, oh, in order for my child to go to this school, they have to act this way.
Yeah.
You know, we would have been like, go to this school. And honestly, bro, I think we would have been more level-headed because we wasn't being forced to be something we were not.
Yeah.
So it possibly could have helped. And eventually we would have got to the point like now, there's a lot of black people who can provide resources for these schools, provide resources that they're getting in those, you know, they're getting in the better schools. It's just a matter of wanting to.
Facts.
And it's hard to want to now because we don't feel like the system was made for us.
It wasn't.
But if the system was that one back there where we were still in school, then it would have been better because we feel more comfortable giving to the system that's for us. You know, it'll be easier.
No doubt.
So I feel like there's a possibility of that being.
No doubt. I feel like it is just because it already was.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? You look at Black Wall Street, and you look at just different communities. You look at what's the place in Florida, man? It was a movie they made. Ben Raines was in it, and they burned the town. I can't remember what it was. But just different black communities, man, that were thriving. You know, they were thriving on their own. You know what I mean? Without the kind of outside help and support. And I think that once we showed value, that we were monetized. And then from that point, it just kind of went to, like you said, us kind of trying to live up to somebody's standard.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because you even take HBCUs and just black college football, you look at like the Jerry Rices and the Walter Paytons and the Michael Strahans and all of those who play for HBCUs, and now all of a sudden you got kids that think that going to those schools are beneath them.
Yep.
You know what I mean? When really those were the only schools you could get into at that point in time. But once, you know, certain people figured out that, oh man, Walter Payton pretty good.
I'm gonna use him.
Right, pretty good. We got to go ahead and get. We got to get cuz in Georgia or Ole Miss or Mississippi State or whatever else. And you really can't compete with those schools as far as they go with the money. I mean, the money's just
It's is a big disparity.
yeah, man. It's so it's the have and the have nots for sure. But I do think, man, that us being separate, in a lot of ways helps. Which why I think too, so many people love Malcolm and they love the Black Panthers because it was a self-sufficient Black America.
Yeah.
It was not having to need or want anybody else or anything else. It was more or less, this is us, this is what we can do, and then you kind of go from there. And that's why a lot of people like MLK and they like Gandhi because they were more so for, the involvement of everybody. You know what I mean? So,
and I guess that's cool or whatever to want that because you do want everybody to quote unquote get along. But ain't it hard to say you want everybody to get along? You've been trying for so long and it still ain't work.
Didn't work, dog.
But and then it goes back to like you said about I guess like he said in the book, he made a comment talking about how white people he always referred to them as people who believe they were white.
I like that though.
And it was funny.
Malcolm said it too though. He got it from Malcolm.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah.
Then. So he's like, people who believe they were white, they always use good intentions as an excuse.
Yeah.
Like they had good intentions, but it just happened like this, and that's their excuse for being the way they are.
Yeah.
So even to the point where he talked about how Manhattan, ground zero for what Bin Laden did, was once a ground zero for auction off.
Ain't that crazy?
Yeah. But you didn't, you don't know about
it. You never knew about that.
Because they had good intentions. So it's one of those things where it's like, did you really have good intentions? Or is that, like you said, is that your reason or is that your excuse? Your way to give excuses on why you treat people a certain type of way.
Yeah.
You should, I don't see it as good intentions. I see it as you being who you are. And once you get caught, now you had good intentions.
I don't either, bro. And then the whole thing too with, slavery was such a long time ago. And he put in his book, and it's so crazy, man, so powerful. And I didn't even think about this. He put in his book that we were enslaved longer than we've been free in America.
100%.
I never, like, people think slavery is such a long time ago, bro. Like, they always use these pictures, these black and white pictures, like you looking at it, and it's like so long. But bro, it really wasn't
that long ago.
It wasn't that long ago, though. That like your grandma and granddad were going through some of the same stuff that he talking about in the book.
Exactly.
And it's wild too, bro, because it's like growing up black is different now. It was different for them. It was different for you and I. And it was different for your kids and people who are their age. But it all kind of goes back to the same thing. You are still black nonetheless. You know what I mean? Like
still
black nonetheless. Like, even if you gotta worry about integration in schools, even if you don't have to worry about, drinking out of a colored only, water fountain, whatever, it's still different things that, redlining and different things that are systematically put in place that are going to make it harder for you, to kind of push through.
Great point. And this is one point me and you 100% both agree on. And one of those things that you can't do as a black person is be aggressive.
Cannot.
Your aggression, even if it's a defense or in your defense, you're still wrong. So the reason I say that is because one of my favorite parts of this book was him and his son was standing in line. They were going to this event, I'm gonna just say event, and this white lady had the nerve to push his son. So she pushed his son, and of course, he responded with aggression, like, what is wrong with you? And for some reason, all of a sudden, he became the aggressor. He became the issue and the problem, where the people around him, the white people, decided that, I can call the police, I can have you arrested, but nobody checked her. According to his part of the story, nobody checked her about pushing his son.
Yeah.
Like, there was never a word stated about, why did you push his son? Why did you do this? And this is where I would give a great nod and respect to our black women, because if there was a black woman there and that happened and all them jumped on him, she would have snapped.
Wouldn't went down like that.
No, she would have snapped. So I appreciate the black woman, because they're going to protect the black man as much as we allow them to.
At all costs, for sure.
So as a parent, I can't say that I would have had as much restraint as he did if she would have put her hands on my boys.
Yeah.
Because at that point, you physically threatened you physically harmed my child.
It's something else now. Like you turn whatever, and it's not words.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, bro, you have put my child in danger.
Exactly.
But even he said too that his child was put in danger both ways, by the white lady who pushed him, and in turn by him.
It's sad he had to think like that.
Facts, bro. Because his response, and then all the white people ganging up on him or whatever, I mean, really put his child in more danger.
It's true, he did, but it shouldn't be that way.
It should not be that way.
Because I don't care who's around. If it's a white child and somebody put their hands on a white child in front of me that's not theirs, I'm going to respond the same way, because I have to protect that child.
You're a good person.
It's a child, bro.
For the most part.
Yeah. I mean, you know, when it needs to be done, I can be done.
That's why I said for the most part. Yeah. I didn't say all the time.
There's not a chance you can name many times.
I can name a lot of chances, but I won't do that.
I don't have a good person.
So yeah, when I was a good person to me.
Wow.
So Jasmine was watching Tubi or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
And she watching Bad Girls Club, and I never watched Bad Girls Club growing up. I didn't think that was. I don't know. I just wasn't one of these I watched. Anyway, we were eating one day, and I was watching it or whatever, and with her, and this was in the middle of me like getting my notes together, you know what I mean, for the podcast. And I was reading about this situation.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, like watching Bad Girl Club, and then this black girl who was on there, like she basically got jumped by a white girl on the show. But then like when the black girl responded, they kicked her off the show.
Yeah.
Because when the white girl went back in the house, she had scratches or what she got beat up. But she got beat up because she started. You feel what I'm saying? But she played it off like, oh, she tried me, she did it to me, and when she got in the house, bro, like everybody ganged up on the black girl, and she had to leave the house. That happened so much, bro.
Think about it now, dog.
Happens all the time.
Even recently, there was this lady in Victoria's Secret or some retail store. The white lady was yelling, doing all this at the black lady, and then the black lady responded. Then all of a sudden, the white lady, when she see that she's being recorded, she turns victim.
Yeah,
she starts crying.
Quit.
Oh, I don't want to be recorded.
But I do remember that. Yeah,
and everybody got telling the black lady, "Why don't you just leave?" Me?
Why I gotta leave?
First of all, she needs help because she went from threatening me in my face to all of a sudden now she's in a whole different mindset.
Yeah,
and that's why in this book, when he say we have to. Even when you said that we can't do certain things now, defending ourselves becomes an issue. Because when we defend ourselves, somehow it turns around on us. And the reason he said he put his son in danger, because if the police would have been called, everybody around was going to say that he was the aggressor.
He was the aggressor.
Everybody around was going to say that he was the issue. And now he's putting handcuffs in front of his son. And
that's an image he'll never get out of his head.
Because me being me, I seen my dad. He was laying on the couch one night. Police come in, put him in handcuffs, walk him out of the house.
Wow.
You'll never forget something like that, bro.
Wow.
You know? So it's like you do harm your child from a mental standpoint, and just think that they do something to him physically. Because the mom wasn't there at the time. So where does the child go? You know? Now he got to sit and be scared around people that was just
That's a great point.
Aggressive toward him, waiting on his mom to pull up.
That's a great point. So that's a great point.
I mean, honestly, bro, I think in this book, he made so many points and great points about how people or black people really was at risk from their own neighborhoods, from the hallways of the school, and throughout life.
Yeah.
And if you don't learn how to conduct yourselves, one of them is going to get you. And think about one thing we all hear. You either end up with dead
or in jail.
Dead, most of the time it's by the hands of your own people in the hood.
Yeah.
In jail, it's because you was doing something that was outside of your rights. Yeah, like you can't do that.
Yeah.
Just like you get locked up for some things, you and a white guy get locked up for the same crime, you get 10, he get 2. If we go out and commit a murder, there's no long trial. You're guilty. They get trials.
Yeah.
They get chances.
Yeah.
And I'm not just talking about police, I'm talking about civilians.
Yeah, facts.
You know.
People in general, like just but like you said, regular civilians.
Yeah.
I was thinking about something the other day when I was reading this book. Like people are so sensitive to the Holocaust, right? Like you think about the Holocaust and you're like, man, like over 6 million Jews were killed, you know, during that genocide. And it is a terrible thing. Like the Holocaust was awful. But doing some research and watching TV or whatever, and like, you know, kind of looking at YouTube and different things, I didn't know. So you're talking about 6 million Jews. I didn't know that in the transatlantic slave trade, there were over 12 million Africans shipped from Africa to not necessarily America, but just kind of
around the world.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Bro, that's double.
Double. But we are considered so insignificant to everybody else that who cares? And then if you talk about it, I love black people because we're strong. It's one thing about black people that I want us to get done better, and that's us being more united at the point. Because we are a great group of people. Once we really find a way to unite with each other where we're uplifting each other more and more, we can really grow to dominate.
No, for sure.
And that's the goal, bro. It's like us to grow to dominate.
Like I said, we'll just be united, you know what I mean? Have a united front and kind of be a little bit more for each other and really be able to kind of, you know, not be so against each other at times. You know what I mean? I feel like, you know, a lot of times, especially growing up, man, it's competition, of course, which ain't nothing wrong with competing. But, you know, sometimes it turns into other things. And, you know, kind of
anger, envy, you know, hatred. You know, I mean, I root for the next man next to me.
You should.
I don't care, bro. Like,
should
be better than me.
Yeah.
Be greater than me. Go further than I did. And once you get there, bring somebody along with you. You know, and that's one thing. In this book, he was saying is we have to learn to, instead of saying, "Oh, this young man right here in the neighborhood, the old heads, this guy right here, I can let him come be a part of my game because he's young, I can control his mind."
Yeah.
Instead of finding a way to build these young men up.
Yeah.
You know, and in his story, he hid from the streets.
For sure.
You know, and he probably was considered soft. He probably was considered, you know,
probably so, bro.
But
probably so.
I mean, he's here, he's able to write for his kid. And I see that after a certain age, a lot of older black men, then they start realizing like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
Or I won't do this.
Yeah.
Then they start to get it. And then they don't go back and give it to those around them. Or those younger men. Even though it's hard to get through some of these knuckleheads, but
it's tough.
You gotta try to save some of them, dog.
Man, look, it's your job to tell them. You obligated to tell them. And then from that point, man, they gotta make their own decision. And then you just show a life. You are a living example of kind of what it should look like. That's a really good point you brought up too about him being soft, about him being classified. So he probably was.
Oh, it's 100%.
I watched Kanye deal too, bro. Like Kanye deal on Netflix. Kanye ain't no street dude, bro. Like,
no, he was just born in
Chicago. Like, but as far as him being, and he tells you, I haven't got past like episode 1, but he tells you in episode 1, like, bro, that wasn't me. You know what I mean? And I think it goes back to what you said earlier, man. Just kind of knowing who you are and being okay with that. And knowing now too, man, it's different avenue. You can be a nerd and be able to kind of make a really good living for yourself. And investing and NFTs and metaverse and, you know, I mean, all these different deals that are out there, man, where you can monetize and really make, you know, some good bread.
My advice to these young men is do something that's going to keep you outside of their walls, outside of their control.
And something you like too. Something
something you enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because boredom is a big thing too. You get bored, you do
anything, though.
You do stupid stuff when you're bored.
You do anything, bro.
I mean, this, once again, bro, this author really brought about a lot of points to make you think, a lot of things to make you really look into yourself and see what you've been doing to keep yourself safe, how you've been restricting yourself to please other people. Yeah. So
that was the point for me.
Yeah.
Restricting yourself, not truly being totally who you are because you're afraid it's gonna kind of scare some people off, or you're gonna be seen as the angry blood. I used to hate that label.
I bet you
used to hate that label.
I bet you used to get like short angry man.
People say that about like
little man syndrome.
And when I say people, I really mean you. I always with the little man syndrome there, and I think average height is what 5. What?
You're actually are, but I mean,
I think I'm average height, but yeah, I'm short, and I think a lot of that too is definitely, Napoleon syndrome or whatever, showing that you gotta be, that you're bigger than what you are, but bro, I think sports did that for me, like I was able to kind of, not have to truly show my manliness because I was gonna be good at something. That's kind of what I was thinking about it earlier, but like I knew what I wanted to do in life from a super young age. Like I was like, I know I want to do some with football, some with sports or whatever, and then kind of if I couldn't play it, coach it. Kind of go from there.
Somewhere to feed, and it feeds your competitive spirit too.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And you gotta feed that beast too. I mean, I think a lot of people are, once they get done playing, bro, they end up doing something else. Like even Alex Cookie boy boxing now. You saying that?
Yeah, because he got to feed that.
He got to feed that beast, bro. He got to feed it.
It's something that you want.
It's in him. It's in him. Cook was Fido. Oh man,
yeah. He was legit, bro.
Speaking, and we always end up going back to forth about it some kind of way. But him talking about the Mecca in the book.
Oh my God, bro! Did it put you back on the yard?
Bro, it put me the old yard. Though.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the old yard. That's the only yard I know.
You feel me? It did, bro. Can you remember standing in front of Gene, sitting on the brick, or sitting on the stoops up front or whatever, the seats up front,
the old students,
right across, and just watching.
The young, especially around this time when it starts to heat up, you get that 75-degree cool weather. Sundresses came out, everybody out. Nobody's going to class.
You weren't going to class.
Nobody's going to class. So
I'm not going to class.
And he talked about how that Mecca really showed you a lot of different great black people. You get what I'm saying? Like the differences. Man. Like you had people on the yard, like the skater guy. Yep. You had people, the dancers. The cool guys, the athletes, the prissies, and it was only our people on that campus, bro. Yeah,
I could definitely put myself there. Bro.
I felt the sun and all. I ain't gonna lie.
Man, bro, I want to be 19 again so bad, cuz go back to them days again, man. Old school being outside. Rest in peace, old school, man. The Poles and legends.
He beat everybody in pool.
Yeah, Cub with 5.
He dominated with one eye.
Cub with 5. Cub with
that was bad,
man.
So. Let's say I'm gonna give my rating on this book just overall, bro, because I think overall in this book he was just legit. He gave us what the black man deal with throughout his entire life, or throughout to the point where he is in life, and the fact that he wrote this to his son took this up to another level because he cared enough to think about his son. So my overall rating for the book, I would give this book a 9 point. I'm gonna give it a 9. I ain't gonna go with no points. This book was a 9 in my opinion overall, just for the delivery, to the, like I said, the description, him bringing us into the book with his descriptions and all that. It really deserves a 9. That's my rating.
I don't disagree, bro. I gotta find this one point though. I gotta find
what it's about,
bro. It's about the what he was talking about his girlfriend. We talked about it when we talked on the phone that one time about it, but I gotta read it.
About the girl with the dread?
The girl with the dread was 5 too.
Oh yeah, she was.
But just what he said about it, bro. Hold on, I gotta find it.
Oh, how he was is that how he did? Hold on, when they were smoking?
Yes. Yes, bro. So I'm gonna just read like the last part of it, right? Alright, so I stood with a blunt in one hand, a beer in another. I inhaled, passed it off to this Chicago girl, and when I brushed her long, elegant fingers, I shuddered a bit from the blast. She brought the blunt to her palm-painted lips, pulled, exhaled, and then smoked back in. A week earlier, I had kissed her, and now watching this display of smoke and flame, and already feeling the effects, I was lost and running and wondering what it must be like to embrace her, to be exhaled by her, to return to her, and leave her high. Damn, girl.
Hey, he went crazy. He went crazy. Hey, that was, and see, that's what I'm saying, bro. That's why I had to rate it a 9. Did you see how he brought you into? You can really see this girl standing there smoking that blunt, and the party that they was in. We done been there,
bro. Just even the feeling of that, bro. Like feeling a way about a person like that, and being able to put it in words like that, where it's so relatable to you and I, where, you know, we I don't think about it too. That time we was in Marcus CRV. Market,
the little black car.
Market was the most angriest minivan driving joke.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
Hey, but cuz we had a herbal session, and and you were like, cuz you ain't even doing it right, man. You ain't even.
Bro, that was a waste of that like the grounds gift, bro. It was a waste of the grounds gift.
You were like, bro, give it back, bro. You ain't even doing it right now. Like, but being in those moments, man, it just,
I can relate.
Definitely, you can relate, man. And then like feeling that way about a woman, feeling that way about your significant other. Like bro said, he wanted to be inhaled by her.
Inhaled? Bro, like, do you know how deep you gotta be? First of all, he was high.
Oh yeah.
Let's just be clear. He was
on it now. Yeah, he was on it.
You can just imagine that dude standing there looking at her with like staring at her, mouth probably open because he high, mouth dry.
Yeah.
But he thinking about what he want.
What he want to do? Facts. But nah, bro, I'm gonna rate it 9 as well. And like I said earlier, really the only negative part for me was just the body part. I just didn't like it. It just was too feminine for me. But I enjoyed it, man. I like anything about history. I like anything with Black authors. So I definitely enjoyed the read. It was something that was they gave me a bunch of notes, man, for the future. And, just for helping me kind of move on as well. It was a really good read. Mr. Coach, come on here, man, and
give us some more information on some of this. Let us hear your story from your vocal cords, bro. Like, tell it to us. So, Bino, that's an overall rating of 9, and one y'all already know the ratings of the bros and books matters most.
It matters, man.
That is what matters. If we rated it a 9, that means you need to go get it. You need to read it, and once you read it, give us your take on it. Give us your rating. So that's the test for y'all. I need for y'all to take, and down below in the comments on YouTube, hit us up on our email, Instagram. We haven't done Twitter yet. We need to do Twitter.
Okay. We'll do Twitter this week.
And just leave us comments. Let us know what y'all think about the book. I mean, give it a shot. Read, gain your own knowledge, and head us out by telling us what we got next, bro.
All right. Before that, podcast, y'all can't see it, but these things is spinning.
This dude about to talk about his
viewers. Are y'all seasick by looking at it?
This is the type of bullshit I've been dealing with for the last.
Hey, bro, I'm just saying, dog.
14 years
up there. Them things up there, man.
Dude went and got a haircut.
Podcast, y'all can't see it, but the cut is immaculate.
If you want to see,
sensational.
If you want to see what he's talking about, simply go to our YouTube, In Between the Lines Book Club, and watch the whole thing. When you get to the end, you'll see what he's talking about. But other than that, you and your waves need to do me a favor and tell people what's next.
All right, next we are going to read Make Your Own Bed.
No, man.
When we make your own bed?
We going to Superior Man next.
I thought we already did Superior Man.
No, that's the next one we gonna do on
All
the
right.
podcast.
All right.
See what we have to do with
The
it.
Way of the Superior Man. We talked about it one time before in the last one, but we're gonna do this one next. And
Cause you remember we was going to that one next, but
I got you. Yeah, I got you.
Black History Month.
I messed up.
It's life. That's why I'm your dog.
I appreciate it, bro.
Got you, my boy.
Here we go. Way of the Superior Man, a spiritual guide to mastering challenges of women, work, and sexual desire.
That's next.
Don't want to miss it. Tune in.
Tune in next week with the bros. Just get at us, bro. Until then, peace out.
Signing off. Good job.
Oh, I gotta turn this mic off. Woo! It's good. Now,
How long was it?
just over an hour.
Okay.
Not bad. Easy. You know what we about to do.
Plug it in.
I feel like we did good. Only thing when we got mics like that, we can't move much because I feel like it's gonna be times where you kind of
I definitely moved a lot.
you went in like you'll be talking good, but when you move,
Yeah.
it kind of go out.